All right, old school NBA fans, self-research, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. My comment of the day comes from Nathan Cook. He says, there isn't a channel like this for Bron. He doesn't top any sort of lists like these. Stat padders never do. They also don't enter GOAT debates with fans who actually know the game. Jim, thanks for putting all these videos out so Bron stans can no longer try to manipulate the facts to prop him up and make him look better. Also, thanks for giving the older generations their credit. I've learned a lot about 50s to 70s ball from this channel. Well, Nathan Cook, thank you very much. I really appreciate the kind words and your support. And I think we're best by just laying out the facts. Let the chips fall where they may. And when it comes to the 50s to 70s NBA, a lot of opinions vary on this. Some people look at it like, well, it was so long ago. Those guys weren't that athletic. There was only a bunch of white guys at one time. There was only 8 teams. But it was the NBA. And you have to judge it of how good a player, a team, whatever, did during the era they were given. Period. You can have fantasies about, oh, if you would have dropped this player back in this era. First of all, if you would have dropped like Ja Morant back into the, say, 1960, right? He wouldn't be able to make it 5 feet without getting a whistle called on him. He wouldn't know what to do out there. So that line of thinking is ridiculous. And they would find out that it's hard to shoot. Also, the ball, the rims, all that kind of stuff. The shoes are nowhere near as good. It's just backwards thinking. However a player is, given the circumstances of a certain era, they would blend into that era. But all you can do is guess about how one player would do in a certain era, but we know how players did in their own era. And in this video, it's no different. So many times we've heard the pundits, we've heard fans, we've seen it so many times. People trying to make the case that Michael Jordan didn't really beat any great teams. In fact, here's a couple morons right here.
So let me ask you a question. Has there ever been a time when Michael Jordan showed up in an NBA Finals and you literally looked at him and said, yo, he didn't show up?
He didn't even play nobody.
Come on.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to do you like this here.
Sure.
Tell me the guy that he faced that was the equivalent of Kevin Durant.
What about those finals? Because I was at most of them with Michael Jordan. Those teams weren't great. Not Michael's teams, the competition. They were not great teams.
They're trying to sell that, oh, Michael Jordan wasn't playing anybody. Whatever he was playing. And I still don't know how you can think those teams that Jordan played in the finals weren't great teams when 5 out of the 6 won at least 6 games. And they were really tight. 92, the Portland series, the Bulls were down by 15 at the end of the third quarter. In 93, it took a Paxson 3 to lock that one up. 97 came down to the last play. 98 came down to the last play. I think you're getting confused with maybe like the Lakers and the Spurs of the 2000s, and nobody ever wants to bring up how weak that competition was, that they went through those guys very easily. But whatever you think of the teams that Michael Jordan actually beat, whatever your opinion is, it's irrelevant for this video. Why does no one ever mention, especially on TV or any big YouTube channel that's trying to revise Michael Jordan's career as not really that great? They'll never bring up this one simple fact. He never took any bad losses. You never hear him talking about it, ever. But yet, virtually any player, any great player or team, dynasties even, took losses. And I'll show you. All right, here's some dynasty teams right here. Basically, the only dynasties there ever was. The Minneapolis Lakers, their dynasty reign was 1949 to 1954. But there was a year in there, 1951, where they were 44-24, but they got beat by Rochester, who was a 41-27 team in the West Finals. They got beat 3-1. Even the Boston Celtics in the 60s. Granted, Bill Russell was injured, but all the people that don't want to give Russell his props talk about how great his teammates were. Then Russell being out shouldn't have been that big of a deal. Well, They got beat in 1958 to a team that was 8 games worse than them in the finals, and they got beat in 6 games. How about the Lakers dynasty in the 80s? 2 top 5 all-time players, right? They took a bad loss in 1981. They were 14 games better than the Houston Rockets in the first round. Now, granted, it was only a best of 3, but still, that's a bad loss. 1986 Western Conference Finals. A 62-20 win Lakers team got beat by Houston 51-31-5. How about the Celtics? Their reign was 81-86. 1982, they got beat by Philly, a team that was 5 games worse than they were in 7 in the East Finals. They got beat by Milwaukee in 83, a team that was 5 games worse than them. Swept in the semifinals. The 1985 Finals. This was a mild one, absolutely, but Boston did have home court advantage. They got beaten 6. How about San Antonio? Don't give me that stuff about 1999 being part of the Dynasty. There was a 3-peat in between 99 and 03 when the Spurs won the championship. So 99 was not part of the Spurs dynasty was 2003 to 2007, period. 99 and 2014 are standalone championships. But in 2004, right in the middle of this dynasty, the Spurs were 1 win better than the Lakers. They got beaten 6 by the semifinals. It's still a bad loss technically. Derek Fisher made that shot with what was like 0.4 of a second or whatever. But whatever. They got beat. 2006, they were 63-19. Dallas was a 60-22 team. They got beat in the semifinals in 7 games. Golden State, their reign was 2015-2018. Well, we all know about what happened in 2016. They got beat by Cleveland. I know there were circumstances, but every dynasty took at least 1 bad loss. Every one of them. Every dynasty. All but 1. Or I guess actually you could say 2 if you want to include the Lakers 3-peat between 2000 and 2002. They did take a bad loss in 2004 finals, but I guess technically it was not during their reign, which was the 3-peat only, because they weren't able to extend it. Technically speaking, okay, you could throw in the 2000 to 2002 Lakers. Their dynasty started and ended with the 3-peat. It did not extend to 04. Even though it was a bad loss, I guess that was not part of the dynasty. Diving in a little more deeper with the details, let's take a look at some of these dynasty losses. 1951, Minneapolis. They were 44-24, the number 1 net rated team. They had 2 All-NBA players. They got beat by Rochester, a team that was 3 games worse. They were the number 3 net rated team. They had 1 All-NBA player. They got beat in 4. The truly bad loss by these dynasties. 1983 Boston Celtics, 56-26, the number 3 net rated team. They got beat by Milwaukee, a 51-31 team. They were the number 5 net rated team. They were a quality team, but they weren't a great team like Boston. They got swept 4-0. Wasn't like they got beaten 7. They got swept. That's a terrible loss. The 1981 Lakers, 54-28, even with Magic being hurt for a good chunk of that season. They were still the number 5 net rated team. They had 5 of the top 24 players for MVP. That was Norm Nixon, Magic Johnson, Jamal Wilkes, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Michael Cooper. 5. They got beat by Houston, an under 500 team, the number 11 net rated team, 2-1. I know it's a 3-game series, but still, you got beat 2-1. The 86 Lakers, 62-20, the number 3 net rated team, the number 1 offense. They had 3 of the top 12 players in the NBA for MVP. In fact, Magic finished 3rd, Kareem finished 5th, and Worthy finished 12th. Michael Cooper was also 2nd team all-defense. They got beat by Houston, a 51-31 team. They were the number 4 net rated team, but they got gentlemen swept. You're the defending champions? Not a good look. The 2006 Spurs, 63-19, the number 1 net rated team, the number 1 defense in the NBA. They got beat by Dallas. Now they were the number 3 net rated and the number 1 offense. 3 wins under. but they got beat at home in a Game 7 during the Dynasty. Why they could never do a back-to-back. That one right there, and then the 0-4 against the Lakers. That's what prevented them from ever doing a back-to-back. And, of course, Ray Allen's Miracle 3 in 2013. That also had a lot to do with it. But those simple-minded fools who think that, oh, LeBron beat a dynasty, they think 2013 or 2014 is somehow connected to this dynasty. Okay, well, let's take a look at this, the Spurs dynasty. 2009 Spurs, 54 in 2018. They got gentlemen swept by Dallas, a team who was 50 and 32. 2011, they were 61 and 21, number one seed, best record in the NBA. You want to know how Miami played Dallas in the finals? Because the Spurs got beat in 6 to Memphis, a 46-win team. And then in 2012, they were a 50 and 16 team. They got beat by OKC, a 47 and 19 team in 6 games. They were up 2-0 in that series. So even though San Antonio rolled off 5 championships in over a 16-season period, they also had several bad losses along the way. The worst one of these pundits, to me, is like Stephen A. Smith, Chris Carter, Chris Broussard, because they try to have it both ways. And I hate that. Like, yeah, I think Jordan's a GOAT, but LeBron's right there at number 2. I just got one guy ahead of him. I hate that. They have no conviction whatsoever. Now, if you want to go by individual players, I threw in a few extra here that is a rough draft that would be my top half of the top 75. There's actually 76 players, so we're going to call this the top 38. Now, I'm not saying this is set in stone, but this is what I got. Kevin McHale, we'll call him number 38 for now. He played 33 playoff series. How many times did he lose with home court advantage? 7. 21.21% of the time. Walt Frazier had a great career. 17 series played. Twice he got beat with home court advantage. Patrick Ewing, 29 playoff series. 3 times he got beat with home court advantage. Right off the top of my head, the 93 Chicago Bulls, the 95 Indiana Pacers. But all in all, 10.34%, that's not bad. Dolph Schayes, 26 series played. 4 times lost with home court advantage. Elvin Hayes, 18 series, twice lost with home court advantage. John Stockton, 36 playoff series played, 6 lost with home court advantage. Dirk Nowitzki, 27 playoff series, 3 he lost with home court advantage. Isaiah Thomas did great in this category. 23 series played, he only lost 1 with home court advantage, and I think that was in like 1984 or 85. But he's got a low percentage. He's over here in purple at 4.34%. Really good. Rick Barry, 20 playoff series, twice he lost with home court advantage. Bob Cousy, 24 series, 4 times lost with home court advantage. 3 of them were before Russell, and the one was in 1958, because even though Russell was hurt, Cousy was there, as was Bill Sharman, Tom Heinsohn, Frank Ramsey, Sam Jones, all these Hall of Famers that people like to tout to say, well, Russell, of course Russell won. He had all these guys. But as soon as you remove Russell, they don't win. Charles Barkley, he did pretty good. 25 series played, only twice he lost with home court advantage, one of them being to the 93 Chicago Bulls. And actually, the other one would have been 1995 against Houston. So those 2 great runs was the only times Charles Barkley lost with home court advantage. He didn't take a lot of bad losses, and you can hardly even call those bad losses. That's 2 of the top 10 all-time players. John Havlicek, 31 series played, 3 times lost with home court advantage, 9.67%. One of those, though, he was injured and decided to play. That was in 1973. They were on a 68-win team, but he separated his shoulder and literally played the series left-handed. They had guts like that back then. Now, I don't think so. If somebody separates their shoulder, they're out for half the season. Dwayne Wade, 32 series played, twice lost with home court advantage. 05, 2011. Elgin Baylor, Out of 24 series played, once he lost with home court advantage. That was one of the criteria Elgin Baylor did really well in, was he didn't lose home court advantage except for 1969. That's it. He's sitting at 4.16%. That's one of the best on here. Kevin Durant, 33 series played, 3 times lost with home court advantage. Bob Pettit, 16 series played, twice lost with home court advantage. Giannis, 15 series played, twice lost with home court advantage. Nikola Jokic, 16 series played, twice lost with home court advantage. The most recent being 2024 against Minnesota when they lost Game 7 at home. David Robinson, 27 playoff series, 5 times lost with home court advantage. And you're talking 95 Houston. I know he got beat by Golden State one year, I think in like 91. 0-1 against the Lakers. San Antonio did have home court advantage. Kevin Garnett, 26 playoff series, only 2 he lost with home court advantage. 7.69%. So as you can see, at least the top half of the top 38 all at least lost once with home court advantage. That's a bad loss. If you are an all-time great, you have home court advantage. You need to win that series. That's how I look at it. Not everybody's going to agree with it. Some will say, oh, come on, man. If you're an all-time great, you should win that series. Karl Malone, 38 playoff series. 7 times he got beat with home court advantage. One of those was with the Lakers in 04. 98 finals against the Bulls. Hardly that bad of a loss, but you did have home court advantage. And in Game 6, you had the ball with the lead with 30 seconds to go. And Karl Malone personally cost them that game by getting stripped by Jordan. And he also fell victim to the 95 Rockets. They were a 60-win team in 95. They got beat in the first round in a best-of-5. Oscar Robertson, 17 playoff series, 3 times got beat with home court advantage. His last series, 1974 against Boston, they had Game 7 at home, and he had Kareem on his team, but they got beat. Moses Malone, 21 playoff series, 3 times got beat with home court advantage. One of the ones that really stung was after they won the championship in 83, and they looked like one of the greatest teams of all time. Actually, they are one of the greatest teams of all time. The next year in 84, they got beat in the first round by the New Jersey Nets. That's a bad loss. And he's not the only all-time great that took that loss. Jerry West, 28 series played, twice lost with home court advantage. One of those was 1969. And the other, I think, was the 73 finals, I'm not mistaken. Steph Curry, 27 series played, twice lost with home court advantage. I believe that was in 2014 and, of course, 2016. George Mikan, 20 series played, the 1 loss against Rochester in 51. 5%. That's really good. LeBron James, 55 series played, 4 times now he's lost with home court advantage. 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2025 against Minnesota. Shaquille O'Neal, in 44 playoff series, 5 times he got beat with home court advantage. Tim Duncan, 48 playoff series played, 7 times got beat with home court advantage. One of the reasons why I tell people to slow down about Tim Duncan. Now, if you love Duncan, you're going to overlook this and say, no big deal. But I look at everything and factor it all in. That's why I have who I have at the very top. Wilt Chamberlain, 29 playoff series, 5 times got beat with home court advantage. Again, you could say whatever you want. Oh, Russell had the better team. Well, he had a home court advantage 1966 through 69, and he won 1 championship. So he lost 3 series right there with home court advantage. Hakeem Olajuwon, 29 series played, 2 he lost with home court advantage. And one of them was his rookie year in 1985. I think it was against Utah in a best-of-5. He only lost 1 the whole rest of his career. And I believe that was in 87 against Seattle. And Olajuwon just had ridiculous numbers in that Game 7. Go back and look at the 87 semifinals. Olajuwon was crazy good in that series. But Seattle won the game. After 87, that was his 3rd season. Olajuwon never lost with home court advantage again. Kobe Bryant, 38 playoff series, twice he got beat with home court advantage. That's excellent. Only 5.26%. Larry Bird, 32 series played, like Tim Duncan and Karl Malone, 7 times they got beat with home court advantage. Something that's always going to keep Bird from being in that upper echelon, top 2, 3. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 49 playoff series, 5 times he got beat with home court advantage. Magic Johnson, 39 playoff series, 3 times got beat with home court advantage. The 2 against Houston that I mentioned earlier, and then 1990 against Phoenix, when the Lakers actually had the best record in the NBA, and they got beat in the semifinals in 5 games. That might have been his worst loss of all. Bill Russell, 29 series played. It's a shame I even have to say won, but he did play in the 58 finals about half the series, and he was hobbled. But you could say none if you don't want to include that one, but technically he did play. I hate to do it, but that's how it is. 3.44%. That's the second best on the list. And look, out of all 38 players who never lost with home court advantage, you can go on and tell me about how, Jordan didn't play anybody. He didn't play, a 4 Hall of Famer team on the Spurs. They had 38-year-old Duncan and 37-year-old Ginobili. Say whatever you want about all the teams he beat, the vastly superior teams that he lost to, but you're not going to find a bad loss on Michael Jordan's resume. He's the only one. You're not going to find a bad loss on the resume. A truly all-time great. Now, it's true, Scottie Pippen also never lost with home court advantage. That's a fact. In 94, in 99, 2000, 01, 02, he did not have home court advantage. That's true. So Pippen is another player, you could say that. But who is he attached to? Jordan, obviously. But you never hear this from the media. That's the whole part of this, that they don't want to approach stuff like that because they know any player they want to bring up, doesn't matter who it is, they got bad losses. Jordan doesn't. He does not have any at all. And that's so rare. Part of the reason how they could navigate through 3 championship seasons in a row twice. That's how. No bad losses. Because if you got home court advantage series after series, you're going to get tested once in a while. The Bulls got tested in 92 by Cleveland. They got tested by the Knicks, by Portland. In 93, they got tested definitely by the Knicks, by the Suns. 95, Orlando beat them, but they, of course, had home court advantage. But even at the times they had home court advantage. The Seattle series was pretty much over in 96. It was 3-0, regardless of what people try to say now. Oh, it's a dogfight. It was over. It was 3-0. It was done. 97 Utah, 98 Utah, 98 Indiana. They all tested the Bulls, but the Bulls passed all tests. What else can you say? It is what it is. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you wouldn't mind sharing it, that would be great. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I give daily content, and that's it. Until next time.